I'm trying. Here we go. Okay. So I'm going to start with a height of 24, right? Now the key to the triple slack line is this. As I slide down from one, right? Then I go to another. Then I go to another, right? And when I get to that bottom one, I don't want to be slamming it into the ground. I want to be like, I kind of want to be like just about a foot, maybe off the ground, half foot. And then I can get off, climb the ladder, and do it again. Just keep going around and around and around. So therefore, these three zip lines really look like this. One's going this way, one's going this way, and the other goes that way, and it creates a triangle. Does that make sense? Except the triangle, if you notice, it was three-dimensional. This should be a lot higher than this one. Does that make sense? Okay? And then we make a ladder up to it. And that's what this triple slack line is all about. So I started with a 24-foot drop. Okay? Now, I have a 120-foot distance that I'm going. So, right away, because we know a squared plus b squared equals c squared, then I know that 24 squared plus 120 squared is equal to c. And if I just take the square root of both sides, boom, it's like that. And I can take this calculator, right? That's what I love about these calculators, is I can easily plug in. I can go, hey, second squared, and that gives me that square root. Okay? And then I can put in 24 squared, about, and then plus 120 squared, about, and then hit equals. Boom. And I'm left with 122.37. Okay? So my C is equal to 122.37. 7/6. Now since it's 7/6, that makes this an 8. Okay? Now I think what I said to you was every distance that we deal with, we're gonna round to the nearest tenth, right? So actually, the 7 turns a 3 into a 4. And so I know that this is the distance of my taut line. Right here. That's the taut line is when it's tight. The tight line. Okay? Now, I want to make a slack line. Because the key here is that I want to make it so it goes like this. Okay? So that we showed it before, so it slows you down, right? And then you come down, you hit that bottom, and then that slack slows you down. Okay? So, to do that, to make the slack line, my slack line is equal to 1.05. Where'd the 0.5 come from? Who remembers? 0.5. What is it? Come on, someone. I don't have $1 right off for it.
Repeat that, please.
Where's the 0.5 come from? Where's the 0.5 come from?
It's
It's 5% bigger.
It's fine. Oh my goodness. See, I don't care what they say about you, Joaquin. You are. I'm telling you. You know how to lay it down. Alright. So what you do is you take the taut line, which is the tight line, right? The hypotenuse. 122.4, and you multiply it by that 5% bigger, or 1.05, right? Because think about it. If I'm 5% bigger, then I'm adding 5% to 100%, right? So what's 5 plus 100? Very good. I don't care what they say about you guys in 7th period. You're not slow at all. That's right. 105%. Right? Yeah, good. All right, so if we move the decimal over twice, that's 1.05, and that's how we come up with that number. Okay? All right, so then when we do it, 122.4 times 1.05 equals 128.52. Now, 128.52 gets rounded off, right? So the 2 just keeps at a 5. So 128.5 is my slack line to number 1. Okay? To number 1. And now what I do is I start moving things. Okay? Now my base 1 is equal to 120. But my base 2 is equal to 120 times
20%.
20%. So am I going to multiply by 0.2 or 1.2?
1.2.
Why?
Because we're just adding the 20%.
Because you're just adding, exactly. Because you're just adding the 20% to the 100. Very good. All right, so 1.2. So I'm going to take that 120, I'm going to multiply it by 1.2, and get 144. So my baseline, my base, is 144. And I don't even have to round it, because that was it. So this is 144. And then what I said was, I don't care. Make your drop as much as you want, as long as it's between, what, 10 and 30 or something like that? Is that what I said?
20 and 30.
20 and 30?
10 and 20.
10 and 20? Oh, that's right. We just had some extra people, and that's why we went up to 30. So, I'm just going to go like, you know what? I'm not going to go all crazy this time. This time, I want to keep it less crazy. So like it was really crazy. We went down 24 feet the first time. Now let's slow it down the second time. And let's only go down like, I don't know, let's go down 14 feet. That makes sense? Alright? So now, how do I figure that out? How do I figure out that line? A squared plus B squared equals C squared, right? Okay. So again, that's a square root
So it'll be 14 squared.
of 14 squared plus
144 squared.
144 squared equals what?
C.
C2, right? Because this is C1. Because that's of this first one. And that's of the second one. Does that make sense? Okay? And then that's what I do. I just plug it in my calculator. And I go second square root. And I go 14 squared plus 144 squared. And then I go equals. And I got 144.67. Now, 144.67 really makes this 144.7. Does that make sense? And that's what my taut line is. But how do I figure out what my slack line is? Slack line 2 is how much bigger? 5%. So what am I multiplying 144.7 by?
1.05.
Perfect. And so when I do that, 144.7 times 1.05, bam, I get 151.93. Now, 151.93. Does the 3 change the 9? No. So I'm going to keep this as the slack line is equal to 151.9. Or did I say that we could have to the nearest foot on these?
You said
10th of a foot.
Oh, slack lines are 1/10 of a foot. Okay. Other lengths are a foot, and then the slack lines are 1/10 of a foot. Okay. So So that's my slack line. Now, I also said you can make things smaller. So I'm going to make this 30% shorter. How do I do that? So I'm going to go 30% shorter. Because I was like, you know what? That's not fun making it bigger all the time. We need to know how to make it smaller sometimes. So how would that work? How would that work 30% smaller? Now what do you do when you...
So you would subtract 30% from the 100?
Yeah. Exactly what you do. That makes sense, right? So before we're adding it to the 100, now we just subtract it. So instead of multiplying by 1.3, we're going to multiply it by...
I don't know.
Because what's 100 minus 30? 70, right? And then I got move the decimal, so I'm at 0.7. So now I'm going to take this 144 and I'm going to multiply it by 0.7. So 144 times 0.7. I'm recording, Mac. Help me out.
No?
I like it.
Music.
I'm recording.
Your music is recording.
I'm recording. It's all good. Thank you. Alright, so we are going to multiply and we get 100.8. Now, for this distance, we said we would round it up to the nearest foot. So that equals 100.8, which is actually 101, right? So that means this distance is 101. Now, for the last ride, I'm thinking I want to make this thing pop. I'm like, okay, I'm going to make these kids want to clean their drawers when they're done. You know what I'm saying? Since I
You want to
can...
make it a higher jump, but a shorter.
Yeah! So I made it shorter and higher. Now the highest I can go is 30, right? So let's do it. This thing's gonna just like, what? So we're gonna go...
Mine up 34.
You went 34?
I think so. That's what it says over there.
Oh. Did I? Oh. You're supposed to keep it under 30. But 30, okay. As long as you do the math right, I'm okay with it. Okay? Alright, so the highest I'm supposed to go, but some of us don't, follow the rules. It's okay. I'm one of them guys, so I understand. So I'm going to go 30. And just think about that. You're going to drop 30 feet in a span of 100 feet. So, you're going to be falling. You're going to be falling fast. So that 5% slack line might not be enough to slow you down. But, this is all theoretic anyways. So, who cares? But the most important part is how high you are off the ground. That's what matters. Okay? So let's do this last slack line and then I'll push pause. And then we're going to talk about some other. Okay? So, this last slack line says what? How am I going to set this up? A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So I got
30 squared.
30 squared plus
101 squared equals C squared.
and I square root it,
C3?
and that's going to be C3. Good. Or T3. Either one. Okay? So I throw that in. Wait, I want to put the square root in. 30 squared plus 101 squared. Now that's going to put me at 105.36. So 105.36 puts me at 105.3, right? Or, sorry, 0.4, right? And then I want to change that into a slack line. And what do I got to do to a slack line?
You gotta drop it by 5% or add 5%.
Yeah, multiply by 5. So I need to go 1.05 times 105.4, right? And that's going to give me my slack line for 3. Okay? So I'm going to take that 105.4 times 1.05. Oops. It equals, I get 110.67. So 110.67 is really 110.7. And that is my slack line for 3. And that's actually how easy it is to make girls fall asleep in class and to do 3 slack lines in a row.